Good day, everyone. My name is Desiree Espinosa from BSET English 1B. So today I will explain to you what are the following views of language in teaching and learning. Language is seen from structural, functional, and interactional point of views. If language is thought to be only a system of structure, it would be a partly observation of a language. So there are many possible theoretical positions about the nature of language. So here are the three different views which explicitly or implicitly are reflected in current approaches to language learning. So the first view of nature of language is the structural view. So what is a structural view? The structural view, it treats language as a system of structurally related elements to code meaning. So structural aspects of a language discuss how the structural system of that language work. By general terms, structure means a framework or skeleton of something. Structure of a language are the phonemes, morphemes, words, and sentences. When people use a language, they use all these subsystems to form a structure. However, we cannot learn a language only by learning its structure, but we need to learn how those structures makes meaning. The next view of nature of language is the functional view. Functionalists believe that the communicative situation motivates constraints or otherwise determines the grammatical structure, meaning that the language choices a child makes during development are heavily influenced by the functional purpose they served. A functional view looks at how language enables us to do things, to share information, or to inquire, to express attitude, to entertain, to argue, to get our needs, to reflect, to construct ideas, to order our experience and make sense of the world. It is concerned with how people use real language for real purposes. At the heart of functional model of language is an emphasis on meaning and on how language is involved in that construction of meaning. It sees language as a resource of making meaning. A functional approach to language is not concerned with a set of rules which prescribe correct and incorrect usage, taught through this contextualized exercise. Rather than it understands about language are developed in the context of authentic tasks across all areas of the curriculum. The last view of nature of language is the interactional view. So what is a interactional view? The interactionist approach claims that if our language ability develops out of a desire to communicate, then language is dependent upon whom we want to communicate with. This means the environment you grow up it will heavily affect on how well and how quickly you learn to talk. The last view of language can be called the interactional view. It sees language as a vehicle of the realization of interpersonal relations and for the performance of the social transaction between individuals. Here, language is viewed as a tool of creation and maintenance of social relations. Interactional theories focus on the patterns of moves, acts, negotiation, and interaction found in conversational exchanges. Now, I will explain to you the following theories in language learning. Language acquisition is the process by which we learn to communicate effectively and meaningfully in a target language. So, there are four main theories of language acquisition. We have behaviorist theory, constructivist theory, cognitive theory, and social constructivist theory. So, what is behaviorist theory? The behaviorist theory says that language develops as a result of certain behaviors, such as imitation. Behaviorists believe that children learn language directly from experiences with their environment. Next is the constructivist theory. Constructivism in language teaching is based on action-oriented and cooperative learning, creative classroom work, and project completion. Student anatomy is more concerned in constructivism. Awareness of learning, language awareness, and intercultural awareness is very important in the class of constructivism. Next is the cognitive theory. Cognitive theory is a psychological approach to understand how the brain works. We can use cognitive theory to help us understand how human beings learn languages, whether this is a first language or a second language. Cognitive theory is grounded in the idea that individuals must first understand a concept before they can use language to express it. It argues that in order to understand new concept, children or adults must develop their cognitive abilities and build their own mental image of the world. Last but not the least theories in language learning is the social-constructivist learning. Social constructivism is the view that learning occurs through social interaction and the help of others, often in a group. Social constructivism posits the understanding an individual develops and shaped through social interaction. Now, I will explain to you the different components of the English grammar. Although there are 100 of different grammar rules in English, there are actually only 5 fundamental principles students have to understand in order to be able to properly communicate. So what are the 5 elements of grammar? We have number 1, word order. As an analytic language, English uses word order to determine the relationship between different words. In a basic declarative statements, the subject should always come first, the verb second, and the object and the adverbial phrases in the last. Next is punctuation. In written English, punctuation is used to signify pauses, intonation, and stress words. These punctuation marks are commas, periods, question marks, exclamation points, semicolons, colons, dashes, hyphens, brackets, braces, parentheses, apostrophes, ellipses, and quotation marks. Next is tense and aspects. Tenses signify whether a statement refers to a present, the past, or the future by applying parameters to verbs. Likewise, aspect shows whether a statement refers to one single instant actions, a regular or repeated actions, or ongoing or progressive action or states. Next is determiners. Since nouns can regularly stand on their own without prior context, determiners such as which, how many, what, my, and so on are needed to give them meaning. Using determiners correctly is essential in order to form meaningful questions or statements. Last is the connectors. As their name suggests, connectors connect phrases, words, or clauses to one another. They can express subordination or correlation between the units they link. So what is the difference between prescriptive grammar and descriptive grammar? Descriptive grammar is a study of language, its structure, and its rules as they used in daily life by its speakers from all walks of life, including standard and non-standard varieties. A prescriptive grammar, on the other hand, specifies how a language and its grammar rules should be used. Now, what is the difference between diachronic linguistics and synchronic linguistics? Synchronic linguistics is a study of language at a particular point in time. Diachronic linguistics is a study of the history or the evolution of language. Next is the difference between oral language and written language. Oral language is designed to be listened to and to sound conversational, which means that word choice must be simpler, more informal, and more repetitive. Written language uses a large vocabulary and it's more formal.